Yeah. Oh, there you are. No, if you guys could just turn the music on in the transition, that would be nice. No, yeah, no, well, we're already transitioned. I mean, music would be nice. Yeah. Oh, there we go. Sound guys, they're terrible. I don't know who gave him that job. All right. Welcome to the Build Show. I'm your host, Ben Estrino. And tonight, we're going to be building another PC over here at the Empower Gaming Studio. But not just any PC. I'm probably going to botch the name. I'm going to try Hashim. We're going to build Hashim's PC. Let me know if I pronounce that incorrectly. Hashim. Cash Bro. Hello, Ben. What's good? Excited to see my brother's PC being built. Super hyped. If that's the wrong name up there, let me know, because I know you said it was for your brother, but I didn't have your brother's name. Yeah. So, viewership on Wednesdays is usually a little lighter. Hey, what's up, Daredy? Welcome back to the Build Show. So, we're gonna just go with the flow. We're gonna be relaxed. We're gonna build this Hashmat. You want me to update the name? Whoops. Didn't mean to do that. You got it. Got it. I think I got it. I don't know. It's a Wednesday. I might not have it. All right. That should be updated in the top corner. Representing the correct person. Oh, I actually forgot to update the exclamation point build. And I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of latecomers. So let me fix that real quick. Uno momento. Okay, we're back. All right. So who's going to do the exclamation point build? Don't worry, I'll do it. I'm going to read off of that. So if you do exclamation point build in the chat, it'll spit out the specs of the build. It's just, I have to manually update that before the build, or before I start the stream, and I forgot to do that this time. So that's what I was doing. Anyway, welcome back to the Build Show, everyone. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to run through the build that we're going to be doing today, all the components, and then we'll start the build. So first off, it is a AMD Ryzen 7 7700X processor. It's got 8 cores, 16 threads. It's a great processor to start out with. I can actually slide myself out of the way since I'm no longer the center of attention. I don't like being the center of attention anyway. But it's a great processor to start out with. We originally wanted to go get the 7600X 3D from the Micro Center bundle, but unfortunately I think it was the CPUs were all sold out, so we couldn't get that, and so we went with the next best option, which is the 7700X. And the difference in that bundle is obviously the CPU and the B650 Asus TUF Gaming motherboard versus the Gigabyte B650 Gaming XAX V2. Both boards are pretty much equivalent when it comes to features and things, but I know they really liked the TUF Gaming board that looked right. So this is the other bundle, the other option when that one's out of stock, for right around the same price point. It's actually less for this, a little bit less. So the Gigabyte B650 Gaming XAX V2 is the motherboard that we got with the bundle, along with the Flare X5 kit, which is the 32 gigs DDR5 6000 megahertz CL36, and that's two 16 gig sticks, so it's running dual channel. We've also got a Thermalright AM5 contact frame for the CPU. The storage that we're going to be using is the Samsung 990 Evo Plus, which is a 2 terabyte SSD, up to 7,250 megabits read, and I think the write speeds are right around that same number. We're going to be cooling the CPU with a Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 Pro 240 millimeter ARGB cooler. Along with the graphics card, we have the AMD Radeon RX 9060 XT, which is 16 gigabytes, and this is the Gigabyte Gaming OC edition. So this is, I believe, the triple fan, which is what I recommended. We're going to be powering the entire system with a Seasonic 650 watt 80 plus gold power supply, which does have the ATX 3.0 and 5.1 ready sticker on it. That is the sticker that they added, because it's pretty much the same thing. But it's a great power supply. This one particularly has a 7-year warranty. Seasonic likes to back their products. The case that we're going to be building in is the NZXT H5 Flow RGB. And the case fans that we'll be using are going to be the case fans that are included with the case. Our plan is to mount the AIO to the top of the case, and we actually just had a brief text conversation because I'm not very familiar with NZXT products, or as familiar as I should be. I couldn't remember if the H5 Flow could even mount an AIO at the top, because I've never built an H5 Flow. I don't get to build with a lot of NZXT products here because, well, I'm not a big fan of the NZXT brand. The cases are okay. I do like their cases, but usually when I'm building in an NZXT case, it's the H9 Flow, and that's it, because everybody wants the big one. So very rare do I get to build in a smaller NZXT case. So it'll be interesting to see NZXT's design around the H5, because I know back then the H5 was a pretty decent case, except for the solid front panel that it used to have. And I know that was one of the things they solved with these new lineups, is they added the flow portion, which meant more airflow. So I know there's a mesh front now, which is nice. Nice to see on the this series. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and get started and build this PC. Feel free to ask as many questions as you'd like as we navigate the build. I forgot to mention we also have some sleeved cables as well for the build. We'll be utilizing those at some point here. So to kick things off, we're gonna pop the motherboard out of the box. And I'm assuming, oh yeah, the other thing I was gonna mention is this is a bring your own parts build, meaning I didn't source these parts. They sourced the parts for the build, and then I'm just building it for them, which is the cheapest way for me to build it for you. And I don't have to worry about any of the warranty or the craziness around behind it. I'm only focused on the build itself. So nice. So how's everybody doing tonight? I know it's only been a couple days since my last build stream. It is Wednesday. Go ahead and zoom right on in. And we can see as we install the CPU into the socket here, nice close-up of what's going on. Hope everybody's having a good evening. I'm assuming you want me to save all the boxes, right? So here's our Ryzen 7 7700X. Gonna go into the socket. We're gonna open this up, expose the bazillion pins. Finishing up at work. Nice, nice. And gently drop the CPU into the socket. We're going to leave it open because we are going to install our Thermalright contact frame. So the CPU is going to be there to protect the pins as we work around the socket there. We had the pins exposed. There's a good possibility that we're going to damage the pins, and we don't really want to do that. And obviously, we need to put the bracket on with the CPU on first. So next, I'm going to open up our bracket, drop that over here on top of the CPU, and then we're going to get our hardware out and screw this contact frame down onto the CPU. This is what I was talking about that they didn't have in stock over at Micro Center, so I did order this from Amazon, or I had it in inventory, can't remember. One of the two happened. This contact frame over on Amazon is about $7. Is the cheapest one that I can find, and it's the same thing versus the $15 option over at Micro Center. The same exact thing. So half the price. Contact frames, generally, you would use these. I use them specifically for A&D because it helps keep the thermal paste out of these crevices on the CPU. Keeps it nice and clean. It's also supposed to help with contact to the cooler by keeping the CPU as flat as possible. And the flatter the surface, the better the contact. The better the contact, the better cooling results you'll have. So that's what the contact frame is for. But in all reality, with AMD, it's probably barely doing anything for the contact, but it's more so doing things like keeping that thermal paste out of those annoying crevices. Because AMD decided they were going to be special and design it the way they did. I actually have no idea why they designed it this way. Would be a good topic to learn. There's actually a reason behind it. That would be pretty cool to know. There we go. So we've got our contact frame installed. We are going to remove these brackets because the cooler that we have, which is the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3 240 millimeter, has its own mounting brackets. So we're not going to be utilizing the stock brackets that come with the motherboard. We're just going to remove these at a time. Make it simple. All right, I'm gonna break open the cooler actually and get the brackets out. I know it's not typically the order of things that I would generally do, but tonight we're doing it this way. Here's our fancy lid for our cooler. That's gonna go over the block. I'm just gonna pull the whole cooler out. For easier doing this. Have one less box to deal with. Trying not to damage the boxes. I'm trying to keep them nice. They're going back to the customer. And then we need our mounting hardware, which is included in the box, inside the box with the cooler. Inside the box, which you'll find a bag of mounting hardware and our thermal paste and our cables for our cooler. There are two different cable options for this cooler. I usually use the one that splits it off into 3 different connections, one for the VRM fan, one for the pump, and one for the CPU fans, the fans on the radiator. The reason why I do that is so you can control each one of them individually, which is what I prefer to do, or be able to do. The rest of that hardware is for mounting the radiator in the case, which we're going to pull that out, break that out open, because I know I'll forget later. I always do. And specifically with this particular cooler, there is an AMD offset mounting. What an offset mounting is that it centers up the block, which is this guy, this copper block, to the hotspot of the AMD CPU. These Ryzen 9000, 7000 CPUs, the hotspot is generally here down at the bottom, or is at the bottom. So you are going to see a little bit of the top of the CPU exposed. It is not going to cover the entirety of the CPU, but that is because it is centering up on the hotspot, and it is actually a genius designed by Arctic to get you a little bit better performance, cooling performance, out of your Liquid Freezer 3. It is one of the best coolers for AMD. And the offset mounting is what helps it be one of the best. So you'll notice on these brackets that I'm installing, there's an R and an L, and that is left and right, to make sure you install the brackets the right way so that the offset is the correct direction. If you don't do that, then your offset will be flipped, and it won't be right, and your hotspot's not going to get cooled. In fact, you'll get terrible cooling performance if that happened. So pay attention, if you're installing one of these, to the L and the R on these brackets, because they do need to be placed in the right positions. The other thing I'd call out is that this cooler does not include an instruction booklet. You do have to go online and read the booklet online on their website, or watch the video that they, I think, link, which is fine. Okay, so now that that's installed, our socket is ready to go. We've got our CPU installed, we've got our contact frame installed, and then we have our mounting hardware for our cooler installed, so that's ready to go. Next, we're going to focus on getting the RAM installed, we have 2 sticks of RAM at 16 gigabytes apiece, which is the G.Skill Flare X5 DDR5 RAM at 6000 megahertz CL36. So we're going to install these 2 sticks into slots A2 and B2. If you look very closely on the motherboard here, it will label which slot is what. A2 and B2 is the typical location that you would put your first 2 sticks in order to achieve dual channel or best performance and stability out of the system. There's only one way you could put this in. There's a notch in the middle of the stick of RAM, so you line it up with the notch on the slot, and then you can install it straight in. And then usually I recommend a finger at the top and a finger at the bottom, and just push straight down until you hear both these hammers on the top and the bottom of the stick latch into place. So line it up, 2 fingers, push down, and you hear click click, and it is locked in. G.Skill locked in. All right, next is going to be our storage that we're going to install in the M.2 NVMe PCIe M.2 slot. Again, we're going with the Samsung 990 EVO Plus, which has been a very popular drive because of the price. Hey, what's up, Adados? Welcome to the build show. This is a 2 terabyte SSD. It's got about 7,250 megabits read, and the write is right around the same performance. But this drive is on sale right now. I see a lot of sales for this particular drive, and it's making it one of the better options to grab if you're looking for a nice Gen 4 SSD. As we pull this out of the package, I'm gonna grab the manual, put that in the motherboard box. And repackage this. And we're going to put it in the top slot, so we have to remove this heat spreader. The heat spreader, or heat sink, helps passively cool the SSD. And passive cooling is just air blowing over the top of it from the ambience of the case. It looks like we do need an M.2. Call them M.2. But your motherboard will generally have a package similar to this with a little screw in it. That is your M.2 screw. There's countless times where I've had people do their own build and then bring it to me, and then I'm going through things, you know, solving problems or finishing the build for them, and the whatchamacallit, or I'll pull the heat spreader off and find out they did not put the screw in here. And that's fine, you can run it without the screw, but the downside is that there is a possibility that you will run into issues where the drive can come loose. Like, if, let's say, if you move your PC or jostle it or something, there is a possibility that that drive can come loose and cause weird activity. If it's barely connected, for example, or starts losing connection, it could cause the computer to reboot, it could cause Windows to blue screen, cause all sorts of madness. So it's best just to make sure you put your screw in to secure it so it doesn't pop out of the socket and go anywhere. Alright, so now that that's all done, we are ready to get the case out. I'm going to tuck the motherboard here off to the side and break our case open. Ow. Zappity dee da. Zappity day. This is the NZXT H5 Flow. Porker Slower over on the Twitch. Welcome back to the Bill Show. Porker Slower. All right. So this is the H5 Flow. And of course, more specifically, it's the H5 Flow RGB. Ta-da! Pretty case. I do like the mesh on the bottom. I do like that they added the mesh to the front, where you can see the fans, and also adds a ton of airflow, which is what we needed for this case. Actually don't know how. Okay, so the top just unscrews here. You do have to remove that. And then we're going to remove the back, 2 thumb screws. The glass was toolless, so it didn't require any tools to remove the glass. It didn't require any tools to remove the top or the back, other than thumb screws. Very simple to access this case, which I do like. They do have a peel over the NZXT sticker, or NZXT logo. I'm going to peel that so I don't forget to peel it. And I'll be careful in there. Very nice cable management, of course. Sorry, I don't know why my camera keeps having issues trying to focus on something. But very nice cable management on the back here. A lot of different cable channels, which I do like to see. They also bag up all of this, the ends of the cables, which is a nice touch, because I see a lot of case manufacturers with cables that are loose and they're just jostling around, smacking the case, and it makes a bunch of weird scratches on the case. So it's a nice touch by NZXT. I'll give them that. These cables are twist tied already, which I don't know if we want to do that. I think I want to actually route them down this way, or we might leave them there. Depends. The rear fan is not RGB, it looks like. It's just this connection here. Get that out. Let's see. We do have an addressable RGB sync cable for the front fans that will mount to the bottom of the board, and the cooler will mount to the top of the board. Okay, so first things first, we're verifying all of our studs are in the right place here for an ATX motherboard, which they are. So those are ready, and the board is ready to drop into place. Very simple so far. The middle stud is studded. Middle standoff is studded, so that when you put the board in, it holds the board in place. So you could install this board with the case standing up if you wanted to. That's another nice touch by NZXT. Quality side. One thing that does drive me nuts with NZXT is all of their screws show up like this. It's kind of a pain. Then they have all their screw sizes on them, which is nice. It's labeled. I think this one is our motherboard screw. The other thing that drives me nuts about NZXT's screws is that they use a specific screw for their mounting. It's not the same screw that everybody else uses. Yeah, this isn't right. Don't know why they have to make it so that they're special about it. And I can never remember which one it is. But it's annoying. Just use the same screw everybody else uses. Thought it was this one. It was not. Am I crazy? I must be crazy. Yeah, I'm just crazy. So for example, they use a 632 5mm. Okay, so we got the motherboard installed. Nice. So next, I guess we'll get the front panel connectors in, and then we'll obviously get our EPS cables. I wonder if this one was the full kit. I know we talked about it. It is, definitely. Okay. Alright, so we'll get our EPS cables in, we'll get our front panel connectors in, our fans plugged in, and get our cooler started. Yeah. Alright, so just for reference, we have USB-C here, we have USB 3 here, our front panel power connectors down here, and our HD audio here, along with our addressable RGB for our front fans right here. And then our fan connector for our front fans will be here, which is listed as System Fan 3. Our rear fan will actually probably go here on the System Fan 2 header. And then the other three fan headers up here, which is our CPU fan, CPU opt, and System Fan 1, will be our pump, our CPU cooler fans, and then our VRM fan. That is what we'll do for all of that. RGB connector goes here. USB 3 here. Front panel power connector there. I don't really want our USB-C getting, our HD audio getting tangled up here. Fan. That's all of that. We'll flip it over. Oh. There's that. And it looks like we lost our front panel connector somewhere down the line while we flipped it around a couple times. We'll have to go back in there and retrieve it. This 3-pin adjustable RGB connector is always the most painful one to plug in. Alright, so we've got all of our front panel connectors plugged in. So now we'll tackle our EPS cable and probably our 24-pin while we're here. Since it's there, may as well do it. Pick up some of these loose screws. The box. Are done with them. Alright, so EPS cables, that is your CPU power. It's a 4+4 pin cable. And we're going to be running 2 of them, even though this has a 8 or 4+4+4. Onra, welcome back to the Build Show. Hello there. Hello, Ben. Hello, chat. Surprise. Yeah, it's an NZXT build. This is a bring your own parts build. So I'm just, they're just paying for the build fee and they brought their own parts. That is why we have an NZXT case. The only reason why. But typically, I don't build with a lot of NZXT. And if I do, it's like the H9 Flow. So, EPS cables. Let's get these cable combs on the cables. We probably only need 1 cable comb, to be honest, because it's just going to be buried by the cooler with how close it is there. But for S's and G's, I'm going to put a second one on each of the cables. Hey, what's up, Chef? Welcome back to the Build Show. Over there on the Twitch side, there is an XFX 9060 Ti 16 GB at the Indie Micro Center for $300. But I need to stop buying stuff. Ah! I totally would have bought it. I think he meant 9060 XT. But yeah, I totally would have bought it for $300, yeah. Maybe you buy it and then I buy it off of you. Yeah? Yeah. Then you ship it here. Or you just pile up, you know, a collection of parts and then drive them out here. Then we have a build off. This is the case that you can't face the PSU fan at the bottom, right? Yes, that is correct. I actually just realized that. I'm glad you mentioned it ahead of time, because I would have been putting the power supply in there and I would have been like, what the hell is going on here? I forgot about that, yes. So I read about the H5 Flow when it like first came out and I was like, well, that's kind of weird. You know, that moment of, that's weird. But yes, the power supply fan does not face down in this one. Okay. The black cables do add a nice touch to it, so it was a good call to grab those, in my opinion. Nice touch. For the $25 I think it costs. Definitely a nice touch. I hate this game series. In the same boat, man. There's a couple people that like building an NZXT around here, but I'm not one of them. It's not like a bad case, just different. I don't know what to say about it. I don't know how I feel about it. I like that they stuck with their, design, which was, close to their previous designs, their ovens, but made them have better airflow. They should have just went with that in the first place, like the original H5. They would have destroyed the market and would have been able to keep the case on the market for longer. Or at least made it so that you could swap the front panel out for a mesh panel. Like, that would be super dope. I actually might have recommended NZXT at that time. Something that you could buy separately, maybe not included with the case back then. Like, hey, you guys need more airflow? Here's an option. You can remove the sheet of metal on the front of the case and replace it with a mesh. I mean, Montech did that on the King 95. Hey, you need more airflow? Well, you can remove the front glass and replace it with a mesh. Super cool. The H3 is the same way. I had the H9 Elite and it was a hot box. Yeah, the H9 Elite I'm not a big fan of because of the fact that they have so much glass where it should be mesh. They should have just never done that case. They should have just stopped at the H9 Flow and been happy with it. All right, so our cables are in. We're ready to mount that cooler. Yeah, the H9 Elite is definitely a hot box. You gotta run those fans at like full speed 24/7 while you're gaming, just to give your CPU and GPU a chance. All right. Oh. Get this AIO in here. Hey, what's up, Tone? Hey, welcome back to the Build Show. Hey, bro, I got that 2.8 inch LCD screen, and I had to send it back. It wouldn't power on. They sent me a new one that's powering on, but I don't know how to use it. Can you help me? I would assume, Tone, that the screen probably has its own unique software you probably have to download. It probably has some sort of USB connection on it that connects to like a USB 2.0 header, I'm assuming. This is an assumption. And that software will then give you the ability to manage it and tell it what to do. Probably going to be super cheap, super clunky software. I would actually look at the seller's listing if it was like on Amazon to see if there's a photo or something that tells you where to go to download it. Or maybe the manual has a link to go to download it. Just be careful. Okay, I'm not going to use the washers. I know it's pretty tight up here. I ran it with the top glass off. Yeah, I don't blame you. I probably would have done the same thing too. Alright, so I'm probably going to try to squeeze this thing towards the back as much as I can and keep it as symmetrical as I can. Okay. Don't you go anywhere. Get those 2 screws in, and then we can take our hands off. So hands free. Lethal Wick, Ben, are you Italian? What makes you think I'm Italian? What gave it away? Is it the fact that I talk with my hands all the time? Kind of offended. I'll hook it up in the PC to the 9. I was just hoping that my PC would recognize it. I'll try that tomorrow. Yeah, there's probably a piece of software you have to download for it. It's probably a clunky, awkward one. Roy, or Intel for the win, who you will see in this chat a couple times, he has one of those 2.8 screens that he put on the Thermalright Frozen Note. I think it was like a little round screen, and he got it working. So maybe reach out to him in the Discord channel. Just ask him how he did it. Might be able to help you with that, because I actually have not tried one of those cheaper, what do you call it? The screens, cheaper screens. So my hair and my last name. Yeah, it'll give it away. I'm actually probably more German. Das sprechen Sie Deutsch? Jawohl! Das ist gut. Probably more German than I am Italian, but I feel like definitely up there in the Italian bracket. I don't know actually what my whole... I'm a mutt. Big mutt. Oh. I think I saw that. I always forget these Arctic coolers have these peels on their fans. The pros. And I'm also pretty sure our family came from Turkey. I'm probably somewhere down the line Turkish. Pretty sure. Which is why I do pretty good in the sun and the heat. Makes sense, right? And I like sand. But I like beaches, oases. Alright, this is the MX6, I believe. Thermal paste from Arctic. Got that Arctic MX6 color, yep, label. Dab it all up. And we've already peeled the bottom. We are good to go. It's always tricky to get this thing started. I'll show you guys the offset mounting that I was talking about earlier in the stream. I was talking about when we were installing the brackets for this cooler. This has an offset mounting, and at the top of the CPU is exposed. And that is nothing to be alarmed about. Yeah, you could probably even see the thermal paste getting bled out. Whoop, zoom in, not out. Nice zoomy zoom. So you can see the very tippity top of the CPU poking out there with a little bit of paste. That's because it's meant to be that way with this cooler. So that's good to go. We can either roll the tubes this way or roll the tubes this way. Just depends on how you want to do it. Or just leave them straight up. Ah, crap. Oh, I forgot about this ARGB connector. Well, we'll just put it through the top. Why not? Come on, you. You little bugger. I'm also Irish. Supposedly somewhere down the line, English and Scottish. Like I said, I'm a mutt. Trying to get this. There we go. 3 of them pulled through. Nice and even. That we have something like that. And then we just have to get this connector over here. Around. I'll go right there. And I'll somehow figure out how to screw that up, like I just did. Lose the cable. I have to go through the process again. Its fat fingers in tiny cases do not mix well. Damn it. I mean, dang it. Dang it. Dang it. Oh, knob it. Okay. Finally. Now what we'll do is we'll zip tie this blob of cables coming off the cooler, the block. We'll zip tie this up, make it look nice and neat, because you really don't want cables on the front side of the build looking like this. You want them looking nice and sharp, clean. Some giant idiot. Thank you for the ban. Welcome back to the build show, sir. I got a good deal on a pre-built. Thought it would be okay now, but I keep updating. I didn't realize how zoomed in I was still, guys. Thanks for telling me. Hey, by the way, Ben, you're still zoomed in. Camera guys don't even know what they're doing. But I keep updating. If I go to change the card, I'm just gonna build my own. It never ends. Yeah. Building PCs, it's kind of like a drug. Sorry, it's a terrible metaphor, but the free builds are like an entry drug. All these manufacturers that build these parts, they just take advantage of us junkies. Yeah, it happens. It's so accurate. It's like, oh, we'll just give them a card with a 2% increase of performance. They'll buy it. They can't resist. Back in the early 2000s, I would have at least 2,500 in my computer, about 10,000 of stuff in a box in a garage. I would rather have 3 computers than just keep updating one. And Norm, Scotch, Irish, mostly Scotch and Irish, but lately I've been claiming the Scotch cause. I'm kind of at the Irish. Got it. Is the person getting this build here? Yes. Yes, he is. Congratulations, it's looking pretty cool. So that's yours. Cool, brother. I think it's actually Hash's brother's PC. Right? I think so. I don't know if I get the story right every time. All right. Time to put Tony Stark's reactor on. That's kind of what it reminds me of. You plug that on, or plug that in. Bloop. Really fun to do when it's on. You can unplug it and that's off, and plug it back in, it turns on. Okay. So now with that being completed, we're actually ready to get a graphics card out. Yeah. Unless we put bottom fans in. We could. See what I got. What about a couple of reversed blades by Thermalright? Sounds a wee too good to be true. Do we have another fan header at least? Ah, crap. We don't. But I believe these daisy chain, so we can make this work. Then we'll put a card in. Yeah? Yeah, I think I bought these and then they weren't showing up in time and I bought more. And that's what happens, and then I always end up with like something like that happens. These are like $7 or $8. I am giving them to you because they're just sitting here collecting dust at this point. It's perfect. I have 2 of them. thing with this case, if you put the fan in the bottom back, it'll fight fresh air with the PSU fan. Let's think about that. Will it though? I mean, will it be that bad? What if I put a different fan going the other way so it just blows air down at the PSU right here? Dang it. I don't have one. So, we're just going to go with these. We'll see how bad the power supply gets under a load. I mean, it's only 650 watts. Not like crazy. I mean, this whole side is mesh. I gotta assume, if anything, this is gonna help draw air in there. Can't be that bad, can it? But it is a solid point. I will check temperatures of our power supply with a thermometer or a heat option, whatchamacallit. See how hot it's getting. Under a load. And if it's a problem, I'll swap it out. And this is why we have Mr. Stubby. Because getting down here, kind of a pain in the butt. At least with a full-blown screwdriver, it can be a pain in the rear. Cat Daddy Roy, Mr. Stubby, to the rescue. Welcome to the build show, sir. Yeah, it's considered what? Not a big deal. Yeah, it's not like 1,000 or 1,500, 1,600 watts overall. We'll be fine, but still, poor decision by NZXT. I agree. I agree. Especially if they give you the option to put fans here. It's like, come on. It does look like you can offset the fans. Actually, I wanted to do that. Dang it. I might have to undo that one. The power supply will have a fighting chance. That was me. Oh, what the shit. Okay, now that we got those in, good to go. Drop this card in here. Drop a power supply in here. We're gonna have ourselves a good night. The H3. The H3 Flow, Aldra says, is the worst. Same PSU issue. No audio jack in the top panel. No support for a 280mm AIO on the top. And no built GPU support. A lot of bad decisions by NZXT. But they got airflow in their case now, which is literally what we've been screaming for from NZXT. Don't know why NZXT includes 3-pin DC fans, not PWM. Yeah, I know. Drives me nuts. For such high quality fans. That hurt. GPU time. Gigabyte AMD Radeon RX 9060 XT, 16 gigabyte. It's the gaming OC. Come here, bad boy. Put you in. There we go. Tuna's favorite card. Is it? The 9060 XT. Says gaming starts here. This literally did nothing, by the way, other than holds the little slider in place and put adhesive on the back of the card. I'll show you. Do better, Gigabyte. You know, if you guys are going to put peels on fans like this, give us pull tabs. Like, takes 2 seconds. Put a freaking pull tab on the thing. Wouldn't be that difficult. And I got to wake up at 5 for work. Good night, friends. Aw, man. I'm going to dip out before Tuna cuts me first. Hey, that. Nice. Well, have a good night, some giant idiot. Thanks for hanging out. Thank you, Onara, for answering that. Oh, come on. One more to go. Such a pain to get those off. Anyway, little adhesive right there. Compliments of Gigabyte's design on that label. Gonna rub that off there. Yeah, we're good to go. Finally, the card is ready. Alright, next up is our power cord for our GPU, which is our 8-pin PCIe cable. I believe I'm going to put about 3 or 4 of these on cable combs on here. And then we could drop a power supply in, plug it all in, do some cable management on the backside, and fire it up for the first time and see if it posts. For the very first time. What's up, Matthew McDonald? Hey, welcome to the Build Show. How can we help you tonight? Nice touch. Those cable extension cables, cable extensions, whatever you want to call them. Good touch. All right, cable management time. Power supply, then cable management time. Close enough. Even though it is a modular power supply, I'm probably going to just put all the cables on here. That way they are there for the future. No cable goes missing. I'm going to go ahead and plug them all in. And that ensures for future upgrades you have all the cables in the PC and you don't have to go digging in boxes trying to find it. Where did I put those things? Downside to this, I only have one EPS. Kind of shocked on this power supply. 2 EPS. Interesting. This power supply only has one EPS option if you're going to use PCIe. Didn't know that. So definitely more of a, make sure we plug it into that one. More of a PCIe 5 power supply. Definitely don't like that. Oh. What? Oh. Never mind, I take that back. They actually have a 600-watt connector that breaks off into two PCIe 8-pin connectors. Is that right? Gotta be what that's for. Yeah. My phone. Core GX 650 ATX 3. Yes, let me see it. Show me. Show me the money. It's so strange. There's a V2 of this. Version 2. Just got to double check that. Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's right as well, because I mean, if you plugged these two into the power supply, you wouldn't have an EPS option. It's just weird. Your PCIe is on the 600. I've never seen a power supply do that before. I mean, it's smart because they save costs. You have two EPS cables here, and then you have your PCIe here on the PCIe 5, which is kind of what I would expect. All right, fan facing up. It's interesting, that's all. Wanted to learn more about it, but screw it. I already know it's right. We already know. Because there's no other way you can do it. Process of elimination. Let's go ahead and get this mounted, and then we can do cable management, then fire it up. Almost there, guys. Cable managing this thing will be a breeze. All right. Simple. All right, let's get this thing laid down. And first things first is our big boy, 24 pin. Gonna ride up this way, like this. Plug in here, and then the rest of it will be stuffed in the basement. Get in the basement, you! Nobody wants to see your face right now. And then we'll tie that up nice and neat when we get to it. And we've got to locate 2 EPS cables here. This one and this one. And rotate all this crap out of its way. Wait, no, that's not one. One. There we go. These are going to run up the side here, meet the EPS extensions. I say EPS, everybody calls it U. And then again, all the extra jazz is going to get stuffed into the basement. That's what we do here. Basement stuffers. And then last but not least, we have our PCIe 8-pin for our GPU, which is floating around here somewhere. There it is. I actually want it underneath all these little cables because I don't want little cables to get pulled on by this stuff when we cable manage these cables. Just makes a little bit of sense, you know? And stuff it in here. Once again. Stuff. And then last, we have is our more stuffing. Our static power cables and Molex cables that are not going to be used at all in the build. There's 0 use for this particular build. But doesn't mean they won't be used in the future, so we're going to zip them up and tuck them in there nice and neat so that they can be found later without a treasure map. Yeah? Okay, the first thing I want to do is start from the top up here. Get these a good old Inkadoodle. Tie here. Tie there, and this guy kind of does. I'm just gonna use this to pull here. Actually, not like that at all. But like this, just to hold it like that in place, and the rest of this is going to just get nailed down here. Alright, and then we're going to clean this up a little bit. All of this. Go down here. Dang it. Doesn't need to be too crazy. Just so it's out of the way. And then we'll start from the top. I'm going to rotate it though. And the last thing we want are any fan ticking noises, because a cable fell in between the power supply and whatnot. So we're going to pull these cables up in like so. Try to get these nice and taut. They stay out of the way. And there we pretty much go. Not a whole lot to it. I think I'm gonna clean up one more spot here. There you go. Cable made it. Hope I remember to plug everything. Pretty sure I did. All right, who's ready to see this thing fired up for the very first time? I'm sure there's a couple of people here that are super excited. Since I started this adventure a little less than a week ago. I gotta fix the camera real quick. Ashmit, are you here? Hope you guys are here. Because you guys are going to be required to tell us when you're ready to push this button. Hold on. I'll get it turned around here in a second. A little zoomed in. Hold on. One momento. I want to get the full view of this thing. And for some reason, my camera is being absolutely retarded. Is that zooming out at all? Yes. I don't know why I have to do it this way. This camera sometimes can be really stupid. Okay, here we go. You guys are ready. In 3, 2, 1. First time, let's go. Wait for it. Oh yeah, look at it come to life. Pretty. And we do have a post, so that's a good sign. So, posted the first time, didn't have to go back in. All the fans are spinning, and all the fans that are supposed to be glowing are glowing. Looks awesome. Thanks, Ben. You're welcome. Now all we got to do is load Windows up and get the drivers installed. Looks great, Ben. Only thing that would make it better if it was an Intel. You trying to start something over here? I thought you knew. This was the AMD land. No, I have no loyalty between Intel or AMD. It's just simply put, AMD is better right now. I'm sorry. I don't care if I have Intel or AMD in my system. It's just I want the better of the two. The disrespect to Intel. Weird times, I know. You disrespected my family. Nah. I'm joking. Well, there she is. She's built. Now we got to do BIOS updates, drivers, Windows, well, Windows installed, then drivers, and then any of the Windows updates, and of course, oh, thank you, Tone A, for the 5 Empower Gaming Computers gifted memberships. I think that's the second time you've done that. I appreciate that very much so. But all of that will be done probably between today and Friday, because I know you guys are planning to come out Friday to pick it up, and I'll have it ready for you. And we'll be doing another build stream on Friday night, or trying to. Worst case scenario, I rescheduled to Saturday, but I am trying to do the build on Friday night. We don't have a crazy ton of builds coming in right now. We have a couple, but nothing super crazy. So just a steady flow of builds coming in, and we're just staggering them throughout the week as best we can. I have a lot of repairs that have came into the shop this week, so I think I've worked on like 10 computers since Monday that came in. So we've had a lot of in and outs for service and repairs, not systems I've built either, which is even better. Better for the business, because then I can continue to spread the word that the best is here in the state of Michigan, at least. If there is somebody better than me in the state of Michigan, please make yourself known. I'm still waiting. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you farewell for the evening, and I will see you on Friday night. If you haven't joined the Discord and you're new here, and you want to join the Discord channel and hang out and chat with us, or ask Ben all sorts of weird questions during the day when he's not streaming live, you're more than welcome to do so by typing !Discord in the chat, which will spit out the link to the Discord channel. YouTube, I think, already has it linked, and I think Twitch also has it linked as well. The Linktree also has it, but find your way to the Discord, have some fun. Lots of people play games there, or at least a few of us play games in there. Really fun place to hang out. See you. Have a good night, everyone. Yes. Staple of Michigan. Yes, the go-to place for nerds other than Micro Center. One day, Micro Center, I will have a show floor better than yours. No, I'm just kidding. You can come hang out, sit in the driver's seat of a Ferrari, VR, of course, and have a full experience of a car without having a car. Just hang out. We'll have a bar. It'll be an open bar. Sounds like fun. Anyway, guys, we'll see you on the next one Friday night. Have a good night, guys. Thanks for hanging out. So here's the awkward time where I did not have the button ready and I'm still here. Have a good night, guys.